So yeah, I mean this year obviously is a lot different for CLG. You are coming onto this team as, I mean, you've been around for a very long time. In various, you've played in the LCS previously at different points in time. So considering that you are now what, on your 7th, 8th year of your career?
I don't think I play that much. I think I'm on my 4th year.
I mean, as an amateur player too.
I guess if you count that, yeah. Okay.
I mean,
I don't know if it's 7, but it's definitely probably more than 5. But yeah,
it's a long time. Why is it that all of a sudden you got this opportunity, and how do you feel about your current level of skill? Because I think you've impressed people as a. I mean, you're not a new LCS player, but in this stint as an LCS player.
Yeah, I mean, I think I definitely. When I first came into LCS, I definitely don't think I was prepared to play in LCS at the time. I think I was just playing like solo queue, and I was just a kid, really. Like looking back at it now, I didn't really have like the confidence I would need to like perform at the best at like a top level. And I still had a lot to learn throughout the game. So I feel like just developing in that regard, I've learned so much more compared to that brought me to where I am now. So that's just allowed me to play a lot better currently than I have like previously on the teams I've been with before.
We had a watch party yesterday that had Zyrathenia on, who obviously was your former coach when you were in Optic, right? The Optic period seems like a weird period, because if people don't know, that was actually a team where they did do like a true 10-man lineup. Like they were taking people from like Academy, the LC, and people were just going back and forth between it. What was that area like? Because I noticed you were like bouncing in and out depending on when it was in the split, right?
Yeah, definitely. It was somewhat of a 10-man lineup. I would say it was more like 7 or 8 generally, but honestly, during that time, I don't think I was like, I didn't really have that real confidence or like confidence in my play that I would really need to like be at a top level. I think when I like in my mind, like when I was just playing LCS and on Optic, I was just like there. I didn't really have like a goal in mind of what I really wanted to do or achieve. I was just like playing, happy I was given the opportunity to play in LCS, and that was just about it. I didn't really have aspirations higher than that. So
what's the problem, mate? Why aren't you more confident in yourself? Why are you like, nah,
I don't know. It's just part of growing up, I guess.
People, the assumption normally of Americans is they're supposed to be like overly arrogant, like, oh, probably beat Faker or You're supposed to be like JoJo, mate. Why are you all like fucking, I don't know if you're good, and
Yeah, I mean, it's just how I grew up, I guess. Or, I mean, yeah, it's probably just product of like how I grew up.
Taught to be humble.
Yeah, pretty much. And then, yeah, I mean, now it's just like, I've been through LCS, been in Academy, been in Amateur as well. Like, going back into LCS now, it's like, I have nothing to lose, really. So
I like the way you said like you've been in Vietnam. Like, I've done 3 tours in Vietnam. I was in fucking Academy. You nearly adopted Academy. I was born in exactly.
Yeah. So, I mean, now it's like, I'm very confident in what I'm able to do. I think I'm definitely like a top player, at least for top lane in the league. So, now whenever I play on stage, like, I'm just very confident and actually just winning the game and getting like wins against EG, against TL. It's just just proves that point, like we can compete. And my goal personally in this split is to make it to Worlds, and I mean, so that's the bar I set for myself. And
well, now we know you are confident. Finally, the confidence kicks in. Right, there we go. Yeah. Okay, there you go. Okay.
And then
I like it.
I think coaching actually has to do like is a big part of like inspiring confidence within players. So I think on previous teams I've been on, it's like a personal coach in that regard, or like someone just look over like you, like ask you how you're doing, would have been like really helpful in my early career, but I'm good now. But like I think that's something that can be improved within a lot of players, because I feel like they definitely miss out on that regard of just like getting help in terms of like what they actually need to improve on, instead of just like macro bullshit gameplay focused stuff, because I feel like that's not really what's going to make you better. It's just the individual stuff that you really need to work on.
When it comes to CLG, like there has been a lot of turnover in the past couple of years, and in terms of like the GM and management, and you guys have quite a few coaches at the current point in time. So when you talk about what's helping you from an organizational perspective,
the CLG icon does look a little bit like some sort of like a recycling icon.
I think it looks like a bad tribal tattoo, but
it does. It looks like something that the guy who's on the undercard in the UFC who gets knocked the fuck out, he has that on his back. Not the champion, like they'd have a classy tattoo. Yeah, that just looks like the trash one, doesn't it? I know,
yeah. The graphic design in early League of Legends was not strong. Couldn't hire the best at the time. But what is the current structure of CLG? Because I think a lot of fans probably don't know exactly how all of the coaches. Like you have a lot of coaches, right? And like ThinkCard is your head coach right now, right? Yeah, you have a bunch of positional coaches.
Yeah, I think we have 7 coaches in total, including Academy. So it's definitely a lot, like compared to like pretty much any other team, right? So like the structure of the team is like our main coaches will lead the review and stuff, and then after a review, we'll just have like personal one-on-one with everyone. So I mean, I think it's a pretty good system for now. And one thing I will say about the CLG turnover is that like I think this year it's like a completely different CLG compared to the past, because like everyone just got fired from like the last iteration, right? So there's like no remnants of like that CLG from the past. So when I joined CLG, I initially just viewed it as like, okay, I'm just joining a completely new team. It's not like what it was last year, where it's just like 9th, 10th, like really bad, no like goal in mind of what they wanted to do. Just so I just viewed it as going into like a brand new team, and it definitely is very welcoming. Like everyone's motivated. It's not like what I thought of CLG in the past when I was like playing against them or something like that. So definitely really nice to be here.
Did you have any reluctance based on like, because it's pretty shocking?
That's what he said that like you have to understand, fans. I'm just going to be me. I'm not going to censor myself. So all I'm going to say is what I love about that is the way he was sort of like, when I wasn't on CLG, obviously I used to think that what a bunch of fucking losers who never played. But now I joined the team though. It's actually quite cool. Like they're welcoming. They have salaries.
They did. I mean, obviously, like the PR blunders from last year, like the horrible like Bud Light like benching incident, and many of these people are no longer with the organization.
In their PR was the treatment of CLG, Joe. Exactly.
Mistakes were made. Mistakes were made. Exactly. And so there has been a giant refresh. So I see where you're coming from with that. Have you, in terms of the people who have stayed, have you sensed that there's been a big change in how things were run? Or when you were thinking about coming into the team, what did they tell you about what changes were going to occur that really sold you on joining the roster?
Well, I don't think anyone from like the previous iteration of CLG stayed. There was a new GM, new like just the whole like League of Legends division was completely new. So then when I joined them, I was like, I just gave them my goal. Like I signed on an academy, and then my goal in my head was like make it to LCS. I think obviously that's just my goal, and I was able to do that. So I was really like, this is the place I wanted to be, where I think I would get the best chance to do that compared to like the other teams that were interested in me at the time. So glad I took this opportunity, because I was debating within like joining other teams. So really glad this one paid off.
I've got a quick question before we go into like this split and the CLG, just because I figure it's the summer now. People can barely remember what the last Cloud9 lineup was anyway, mate. The statute of limitations has passed on that one. Mm-hmm. I just wanted to ask you this question. Last split, right? Will you actually ever see it? Like, what was the Cloud9 team the last split? Behind the scenes, was there among players? Was everyone obsessed with the drama in the same way as public? Like, was there a sense of like, oh, it's all blowing up, or like, oh my god, the Summit guys out? Was there any of that jazz behind the scenes for the pro players? Did you guys follow it like we did with Popcorn, or was it all big story? What was it?
Well, during the split, I didn't really follow along with it, but there was like a party, not a party, but like a cookout that I went to, and then stuff was being said behind the scenes of what happened within C9, and it was definitely juicy for sure.
Okay, yep.
So people in the mix knew what was going on behind the scenes, and I mean, but like the rest of the league, I guess, in terms of that, didn't really keep up with it. But after like the split ended, after like they dropped out of playoffs, like everyone kind of knew what was going on. So then I wasn't really surprised when I saw the change of Summit. So yeah.
I mean, I knew it was happening when it was happening.
What I can't believe about that is the way the broadcast has to just pretend like he's memory hold like a fucking character in Back to the Future 1 in a photo, like, oh, here we are for the summer split, and it's Fudge in the top lane for Glenn. Like, what? Bro, that was the MVP. He's just like, he's not even on the continent anymore. We're not going to talk about this. Like, what? How is that not the biggest storyline of all time? Like, what the fuck? Like, dude, he was literally the MVP until he so hard entered playoffs. They just like ejected him to another continent. Like, what are we not talking about this? It's a pretty big storyline, guys. What the fuck? Like,
yeah, that is it is really shocking, and obviously, probably worth discussion. Massive scandal, as it were. Really, no reporting around what actually happened in that situation either. It turns out
if you're an NA player who's on the rise, right, you're supposed to be like, oh, I'm going to work hard and be diligent. I want to get to the top of the field. I want to be the best in LCS. Then you look around in LCS all these years. It's like fucking Summit and Hooney are just like, lol, I'm actually going to just run it down for no reason. I'm getting millions. And then you're like, can I play? Can I just play? I'm practicing everything.
That was really my mindset in spring because, I think I was playing like insane in spring and I just needed an opportunity to play. So then every time I was watching LCS, I'm like, these players are just so bad. I just needed an opportunity to prove myself. There you go. And I mean, that was my mindset at the time. And I do not think like a lot of players in top lane especially are good. I feel like they're just doing their own thing. I don't know what they're really doing. So glad
we don't know what they're really doing either.
I don't know. Yeah. So then I think like teams also don't know what they're doing. Like when they're signing these players, I really do think like they don't know what they're getting in terms of like what they want from a player or something. Because I feel like when they're signing these new players, like I'm playing against them all the time, so I know like actually like what their strengths and weaknesses are. But I feel like the orgs who pick these players up do not know at all like what they're gonna get from these players. So it's really shocking when I see like the same players being kept on rosters or stuff like that.
It is where Monty was destined to be a caster in some ways, because I would definitely have done some sort of sadist wordplay. I would have done a joke, and here's the premise, Monty. It would be about something like, I would make a joke that at some point in a game when FlyQuest played, I'd be like, of course, the problem there was they needed the flat head. And you'd be like, what do you mean? I'm like, their problem, Monty, was they attempted to fix this situation with Philip's head, didn't they? Like, I'd have a whole thing that'd work in like that. It'd be whack, but I'd work it in. And I'd deliver it like as a real joke as well, like that. Like, even though it's absolute shite, man, I don't care. Want to see more cool, funny, interesting clips based on topics from my content? Well, subscribe to this channel then, or, be a pleb and don't.